Hello and welcome back to TF1C, the Formula 1 chat. We are here and we're back with Formula 1. It's Imola. It's been 2 weeks since the Australian Grand Prix. It's a decent little race. Apologies again that we didn't have a review of that one. But we were of course in Rome watching the Rome Prix in Formula E. Very good race. And watching some football as well. But we're back now and we're discussing Imola. It's hopefully gonna be a big race to return. It was a good race last year.
Very good race last year.
Of course, Hamilton taking pole, Perez second, but Max pretty much won it on the first corner. Brilliant, made double overtake, passed Hamilton, and secured the win in Imola.
So then Hamilton
kind of ignited that championship fight. Could we see a similar thing today with Max and Leclerc right at the front, fighting from the start? Well, that would be very exciting. We're of course going to run for our quali. And it's sprint race this weekend and the race. Do you think that can have an effect on things?
Yeah, I do like the sprint races. I think they just add a little bit more to the weekend. And it means if you don't qualify well on the Friday, you can recover on the Saturday and make sure you're in the best possible position for the race. I do think Imola's a good place to have it, better than some.
I hate sprint races, but this should be a good location for it because we know it's quite an incident-prone area. Of course, we had Russell and Bottas last season.
Hamilton ended up in the gravel.
Hamilton did, and obviously the lap 1 collision with Verstappen. I do think that if it rains, it will have a massive effect, and it's due to rain every day. Which should be brilliant. So I think that does just add a lot. Of course, then does that affect predictions slightly because the rain does level out the playing field. So drivers there's some drivers obviously very good in the wet, some others that aren't. So drivers like Stroll, Hamilton, Verstappen much better in the wet than most. Does that
Verstappen has the advantage over Leclerc in the wet?
Yeah,
it came down to that.
Could Stroll pick up a big result for Aston Martin?
No, I think that's true. That leads us into our predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got anything mental for Lance Stroll, but I do think there's a chance. No. We know he's good in the wet. Look at Turkey 2020.
And
absolutely no one
somewhat good
predicted a Racing
season.
Point podium.
Yeah, exactly.
A pole position, wasn't it?
Difference. Very big difference to the Aston Martin this season. Tragic.
Stroll's got a thing of just turning up in random races. He took a podium in a Williams. I know the Williams was decent. It wasn't as horrific.
This Aston Martin. And he'll probably end up crashing or reliably.
I don't know. I think Aston's got potential. But yeah. Maybe. I mean, if they spent more time developing the car and not complaining about Haas's pace, maybe they'd be alright.
Or because their drivers keep crashing and spend all their time fixing the bloody car, let alone developing it.
But yeah, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin, all thinking today about Haas. That's not what we're discussing here. We're here to discuss Imola. Yeah. But I'm sure that will be the talking point of the weekend. So looking forward to that on the Sky coverage. Right, should we get into quali?
Yes.
We'll start, as always, from the back of the grid. So Lewis Hamilton then. Who have you got qualifying P20?
Shot caller, I've got Nicholas Latifi for the...
Is he going to make it round?
4th time running. I wouldn't be surprised if he crashes again.
I mean, it's wet.
He's crashing every single
quali. Is Imola.
Apart from Bahrain.
Yeah. He's crashed at some point during the weekend, put it that way. And we've got 3 events here for him to crash in, so it's a good chance.
His car set on fire in practice.
Yes, of course. Gotta love it.
That just happens, just regularly. It's just like that happens all the time.
But I do think it could be a better weekend for the Williams. Of course, Albon picking up his first point and their first point of the season in Australia. Fantastic job from Albon. And this is a race where we could see no pit stops. If it is wet like it's supposed to be, the mandatory pit stop doesn't come into effect. So
maybe
we could see someone try and long it out on the Sunday.
Not Latifi. I've got him qualifying P20.
Latifi would do it and then get in first and then spin it on the last corner. End up out the points. My P20 is Lance Stroll, so completely negating everything I said in the last one. No, I think he'll be on a really good lap and then spin it in the final corner. Crash, and that'll be the end of his quality.
Latifi again.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. He'll be on a fantastic lap. Everyone will be like, "What is this? Stroll's going to get like P4 or something." It'll be Martin Brundle, the Lando Norris commentary again. Norris is on a great. He's got put to the second.
Is he going to put this on the front row? Is he going to put it on?
Yeah, that again, but with Stroll.
No, I have Lance Stroll in 19th.
I have Latifi in 19th.
Wow, what a surprise!
Our favourite Canadian drivers.
Okay. Moving on then.
Do you think this will be Latifi's last season?
Has to be shite.
I mean, it won't be Stroll's because
I hate it.
Daddy Stroll brings the cash.
I hate you've got drivers like Piastri out of the sport, and you've got Latifi sitting in there crashing every single session.
Alpine looking at trying to get a Piastri loan deal into the sport though, so that could be a potential avenue if Latifi goes. Right, should we crack through a few here? P18.
I've got Yuki Tsunoda.
I've got Alexander Albon. I thought that's harsh on Yuki. I've got him a lot higher.
I've got both AlphaTauris quite low. They were very slow around Australia.
Yeah, but home race.
Nah, I don't see it on the pace.
Momentum in the wheels.
I don't think that car's that quick, and like the Red Bull, it has had a few reliability issues this year. Gasly in Bahrain and Yuki in Jeddah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my Gasly P3 championship prediction is going to be right.
No.
Make sure to go and check that video out if you want to see all the brilliant predictions we made. P17?
Who have you got P18?
Oh, my P18 is Alexander Albon.
Ooh, that's very low.
Nah.
He had some very...
Williams is slow.
No. To be fair, I haven't got him much. P17, I've got the other Aston Martin, Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, don't see him doing much. That car is so slow.
My 17th is Guan Yu Zhou, new track.
Yeah.
We've seen him struggle to adapt before.
I didn't go to F2 there, did they, last year?
No. Seen him struggle to adapt to tracks in the past. I think Zhou will struggle here. Didn't do well in Australia either, did he? I swear he didn't get points. I think.
No, he just became P11.
Yeah, he's certainly he's got P10, P11, P11. He's had a very good.
Albon came out of the pits and beat him by about half a car.
Yeah, I really rate Guan Yu Zhou. He's had a really solid season.
And I know Pitloss said that Piastri should get that seat, but I don't really know. I think Joe's a little bit
more experienced. Exactly.
And he's having a great season.
But yeah, I do think he sometimes struggles to adapt to new circuits.
So I guess every single session this weekend.
Yeah. P16, who have you got?
Pierre Gasly and the other AlphaTauri.
I think that's very low. I've got a bit of a shock result. Last week's home hero, Daniel Ricciardo, out in Q1, P16.
Fair enough.
And I've got Vettel getting it through into Q2, but he is out in he's P15, so it's not like a madness.
Yeah. P15, I've got Alex Albon.
Solid.
He's dragging the Williams up into Q2, but not really doing much else apart from that.
A P14?
I've got Mick Schumacher.
Jinx, I also have the German in the Haas in P14. Speaking of Haas, P13, Kevin Magnussen. Who have you got there?
P13, I've got Guan Yu Zhou.
Decent job from the Alfa Romeo. P12.
I've got the person you put in P16. I've got Daniel Ricciardo.
Momentum from last week, pushing him through. I think Ricciardo could get points again. McLaren's look somewhat competitive. I'm thinking though he's going to get massively overshadowed by his teammate, who I'm predicting could have a bit of a madness. Is he going to put this on the front row? Is he going to stick this on pole?
I do think McLaren are quite a quick car. They were only because they've improved from Jeddah into Jeddah, Australia, and hopefully into Imola. Because Bahrain was the whole thing. They had to compromise their pace because they hadn't sorted the brakes out. But now they have sorted the brakes out. And they look quite quick around Jeddah and Australia, all scoring points in both races. So they look to be a little bit quicker than we thought they were going to be, which is good.
I mean, they look like they're going to be a backmarker team, and Lando is going to leave, and Ricciardo, both are going to leave. My P12 is Yuki Tsunoda. You have him all the way down in P18. I've got him just outside the top 10.
I think it's going to be a tough weekend. Yuki struggled in Imola last year, crashed in quali.
Yeah, but we've seen with Yuki Tsunoda, he struggles to adapt. But then the next season, once he's had a race there, he's really switched on, nailed on, and he knows what to do. I think with more sessions as well this weekend,
maybe.
I think he'll be
Who knows?
more adapted to it. Or at least more competitive running.
P11, I've got Kevin Magnussen just missing out on Q3, but an improvement from Australia.
And my P11, George Russell. Big shock. Merc out in Q2.
A lot lower than I have him.
You got him taking pole or something?
Yeah, no. Okay. P10, I have a bit of a shock.
Just quickly, George Russell, Mr. Saturday, as Crofty called him, all throughout last season. His qualifying's been very poor, in my opinion, so far in the Merc. Like I thought it'd be the other, because he's had poor pace and then good race pace, solid race pace. I thought it'd be the other way around because that's what he's always demonstrated. But it seems he's completely switched it in the Merc.
Yeah. Okay,
Interesting to
P10.
see.
I've got a bit of a shock. I've got Sergio Perez.
Oh, yeah, that is shocking.
I
What,
don't know,
a crash or
I
just
think,
a
no,
poor lap?
I think it's going to be like
Carlos
he's either
in
gonna get,
Australia.
Yeah, it's just not going to come together for him. He's either going to make a mistake or get blocked or something's just not, it's not going to be timed right or something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just not, Perez is going to end up starting P10.
And my P10, similar to his misfortune in Australia, it's Carlos Sainz. I think this is another weekend where he's going to get massively overshadowed by Leclerc, and he's had it every race this season. He's not been anywhere near Leclerc's pace.
I mean, he's definitely, if it carries on like this, he will definitely end up being more of a, rather than both of them challenging for the title, it will be more of a Sainz being a second fiddle.
But could you see him leaving at the end of the season? His contract expires.
No.
His contract expires. Hamilton's believed to be interested in leaving. He's out of contract as well. Could we see Hamilton get his dream drive at Ferrari?
No.
Or do you think they'd not bring anyone in that would challenge Leclerc?
I still think Sainz would do a very good job at Ferrari, even if he's not as quick as that. Because I think Sainz will be quicker than Hamilton.
Currently he wants a 2-year deal. Ferrari want to give him a 1-year deal with an option of another year.
Nah, well, I guess we'll see.
So,
one man is on a very good contract.
It's like Mercedes with Bottas and that. Really. Yeah, go on.
One man has got the big contract at McLaren. P9, I've got Lando Norris.
Nice. Better than last week. Still lower than I've got him, but
building on the McLaren pace and getting into Q3 on Friday.
Yes, but doing a good performances for McLaren. Saudi was decent. Australia, double points finish. I think that's about the best they can ask for at the moment.
Yeah, it's been much better since Bahrain, because Bahrain was tragic.
Yeah, certainly has. My P9 crashed out in last year's race. It's Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, thinking, yet again, another performance better than Russell in the Merc. Another to whom it may concern. Have that. Who's your P8?
P8, I've got Esteban Ocon.
I have his teammate, Fernando Alonso.
I'll be honest, I underestimated the Alpine's pace a lot in the Australia preview.
I completely nailed it.
If Alonso hadn't had the hydraulic issue,
exactly,
he would have been on the
furious.
Yeah, I underestimated the Alpine's pace, but this week Ocon in P8, I think he'll be challenging, and obviously I've still got Alonso to go. I think the Alpines will be very quick.
I have his teammate Alonso in P8.
Okay.
But I think Alpine, as you said, very, very good pace. But I think Ocon's going to have the better pace here.
I've got it the other way around. Okay.
Have you got P7?
I've got Lewis Hamilton.
Getting
beaten by Russell again and getting beaten by Bottas again, who I do have in P6 out of Bottas. So Hamilton losing out, just quicker than Ocon and Lando, P7 for Lewis.
My P7 is Lando Norris. I think he had some fantastic pace here last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, he picked up that, should have been P2, but it was in the end P3 after Lewis got him with like a few laps to go on his comeback drive. And Lando just seemed really quick here last year, and I think he'll replicate that form into this season. And obviously P7 comparative to like a P3 isn't amazing, but I think he'll make progress in the race.
Yeah.
So, subtle little hint to later in the video. P6, who have you got?
Valtteri Bottas, as already said, beating Lewis Hamilton, doing very well in the Alfa Romeo.
I have Gasly in P6, followed by his French compatriot, P5. It's Esteban Ocon.
I've got the other Alpine in P5. I've got Fernando Alonso.
So we've got them exactly switched.
Yeah. So I think Alonso was on a very good run in Australia.
He had a lot of pace in Australia, but he's also very experienced there.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think he got P10, I believe, at Imola last year. I don't know if I still have the tab open.
Last year.
I don't. But I think he got P10 there.
I think Alonso will have some very good pace and will get himself into the top 5 on the Friday.
I think Ocon P5. I'm thinking he's really going to establish himself as a very good driver this year. Obviously, he got his first win last year, but I think he's established himself as a top young talent and then take over from Lewis Hamilton at the end of the season.
Ooh. Okay.
Bold prediction.
P4, I have got Lewis Hamilton's teammate, George Russell. A lot higher than you had him. I think he's got a solid weekend. And he's going to put a good, because as you said, in the wet, if it is wet, that will be to his advantage. He's very quick in the wet, as he proved in Spa. in Belgium around Spa. And yeah, I think he's going to put together a nice, neat lap and will get himself on the second row for the sprint.
Yeah, I have Charles Leclerc. I think he's going to get impeded by someone on his lap. He's going to be P4, very frustrated. I'm guessing it's probably going to be someone like a Bottas or an Alonso or maybe even Perez. And they'll pick up a penalty for the sprint, something like that. I'm thinking Leclerc will get impeded and then he'll be P4. Very frustrating. But that leaves Red Bulls and Lewis Hamilton as my top three.
I've left
Who've you still got left?
Ferraris and Verstappen. It's the usual front three we're used to seeing this season.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's wet as well. Actually, yeah, Leclerc doesn't even need to be impeded. It's wet. It levels it out a little bit more. I don't know if Ferrari will have amazing pace here. And we know that Lewis in the wet is, of course, amazing. Max in the wet is, of course, amazing. And Perez was good in the wet here last season. Well, to be fair, he just kind of struggled off the start and then spun later. But
forget about that part.
He did a good first lap.
Okay.
No, I just think Red Bull are going to have quite a bit of pace. They're bringing some upgrades this weekend, as are Mercedes, and I think now that'll put them through. But what order do you have your drivers in?
In third, I have Carlos Sainz,
P2.
improving a lot from Australia. P2, I have Max Verstappen, which means on pole for the sprint. On the Saturday, I have Charles Leclerc. Charles
Leclerc.
No, I had to get it in my head because I was going to say Arthur.
That's 3 poles now.
Yeah.
For the season for Leclerc. I have got Hamilton P3, Perez P2, and Max Verstappen taking his first pole of the season. And I think he could have a very dominant weekend.
Ooh.
Let's see though. On the sprint race, P20, who is it?
I have Valtteri Bottas.
That's disappointing. I really thought you were going to say Latifi.
Oh. Yeah, I have Valtteri Bottas crashing out and having to start last for the race on Sunday. But just a spin or coming together with someone.
There does always seem to be one that drops in a sprint race, isn't there?
It was Gasly.
Perez at Silverstone. Gasly at Monza.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what the other one. Brazil, we had. Well,
Hamilton had his whole penalty game.
Nothing happened at Brazil. Lewis just cut for everyone in the sprint.
With his engine.
Which is one of my reasons for not liking the sprint. I don't mind having another event. Obviously, money and that, it's going to happen. But I don't think the sprint should affect the race. I think that should be a separate event. Because drivers will go for it more in the sprint if they know it doesn't affect their positioning for the race.
A bit like F2.
Exactly.
They might change it. But yeah, I've got...
And also, I wouldn't mind a reverse.
Yeah.
In fact, let's reverse the whole grid. I want Latifi on pole.
Tragic.
Imagine Latifi on pole.
It'd be awful. I'd hate to watch it.
You'd up the Canadian viewing figures by triple.
Yeah, because it'd be Stroll and Latifi 1-2 all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got Bottas P20.
Speaking of the Canadian duo, I've got them 20 and 19. It's Latifi at the back and Stroll 19.
I've got Stroll 19, Latifi 18.
If these two now get a double points finish,
They won't.
we're going to like mugs. Stroll's good in the wet and Latifi's good at just finding himself in a random position when there's chaos.
Hungry.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just don't see any pace for them. I don't see any pace with Aston Martin. I've got Sebastian Vettel in P17.
I also have Sebastian Vettel just ahead of those two in P18. In my 17 is Valtteri Bottas. So we've got the same bottom four, just in a different order. I don't think Bottas is going to crash or anything. I think you might just have a little incident and then slow pace.
He spins a mad just to catch up with Stroll. And he's still catch Stroll, Latifi and Vettel.
Yeah, P16, who have you got?
I've got Yuki Tsunoda.
You really don't rate Yuki, do
improving
you?
a little bit from his quality position with the helps of Bottas crashing and then making a singular move in the sprint, leaving him in P16 on the grid for Sunday.
Yeah, fair enough. My P16 is Kevin Magnussen, new to this circuit. Don't think he'd ever raced here before.
No.
So, I think he could struggle for race pace.
See, that'll back up me at some point. Ooh.
Okay. Vague. Sure.
P15, I have Alexander Albon.
Interesting. I've gone Peugeot.
Ooh. That is interesting.
Gaining 2 positions from his starting spot.
I've got Albon staying in the same position.
P14.
I've got Pierre Gasly.
I've got Daniel Ricciardo gaining 2.
P13, I have Mick Schumacher.
Jinx again. We both had Schumi in the same position in quali. We both got Schumi in the same position in the race.
I've got him gaining 1.
Same here. P12.
I've got Daniel Ricciardo.
I have Alex Albon up from P18 into P12 in the sprint. I think he's shown before he has good. He's good at overtaking.
Good at managing his tyres.
Yeah, Imola Imola the year before last, 2020, was obviously not very good for Albon.
Did we go to Imola in 2020?
Yes, it was one of the events that was added, wasn't it?
I don't think we did. No, we went to Mugello.
I swear we went Imola 2020.
No, we went Mugello.
Because I thought we did, because they added loads. Imola.
I can't remember the order if we did go at Imola 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
He spun it.
Oh.
Because he was in like P9 after a safety car.
I'm guessing Lewis won it?
And he spun. Yes. Lewis.
Sure.
Like every race that year, it was Lewis. It was Valtteri that took pole, Lewis first, Valtteri second, and it was Daniel Ricciardo's podium.
Oh, in the Renault, yeah. Okay.
He's one in the Renault that then Cyril Abitable had to get a tattoo for.
P11, I have Guan Yu Zhou.
I've got Sergio Perez. As we mentioned, drivers slip through the grid in the sprint, and I've got him dropping from P2 to P11, similar to the Silverstone vibes.
So I've gone the other way around. I've got him starting P10, but I think
tough result for him.
Okay, into
P10
top 10 now. I've got Lando Norris dropping 1.
Interesting. I've got Yuki Tsunoda gaining 2. The guy who you seem to hate for some reason.
I think you have to have
Poor
Yuki. P9, I've got the man who you put quite low, Kevin Magnussen.
I've got Ocon dropping a lot from his P5 down to P9.
Yeah, okay. P8, I have Lewis Hamilton.
I've got his teammate, George Russell, in P8.
P7, I have Esteban Ocon, Alpine. As I said, having some good pace over the weekend. I hope Ocon get a good result.
I've got Sainz gaining 3 from his 10th place in quali.
P6, I have George Russell.
I have Pierre Gasly.
Again, I think the AlphaTauris got a bad weekend.
You really hate AlphaTauri.
Yeah, but I've
not on board with your
AlphaTauri
hate squad.
I've put Zhou. That's who it is. I put Zhou and McLaren's a lot higher than you have.
I don't think you have, because my P5, Lando Norris.
Okay, I went Ricciardo and Zhou.
Picking up points, I think, because in top 5 points now in sprint race.
P5, I've got Sergio Perez making his way from 10th on the grid up to P5 for the race.
My P4 is Lewis Hamilton, dropping back 1 from his start position on the grid.
I've got Fernando Alonso gaining 1, which then leaves me the same top 3 I had in quali, Leclerc, Verstappen and Sainz.
Only one of mine remains from the top 3 in quali. I've got Verstappen. No, it's Verstappen. It's a mixture of Leclerc and Verstappen. I have Verstappen, Leclerc and Alonso, but in what order? Have you got?
I've
got me your order.
Sainz again in P3, but I have Leclerc in P2 and Max Verstappen starting in P1 for the race, overtaking Leclerc in the sprint and going to be on, and they still share the front row, but the opposite way round to the quali.
Wunderbar. I have Charles Leclerc P3, so not sharing a front row with Max Verstappen, because that'll be Fernando Alonso taking P2. And then Verstappen winning from pole. Into the race. P20.
The man I don't hate. I think he's had a bad weekend. I've got Yuki Tsunoda with another mechanical failure for Honda engines.
I was going to say, yeah.
Don't think he's
fair
to say, sorry, not Honda. I think it's fair to say Red Bull powertrains are not the most reliable. And I think it's Yuki's turn and he's going to get a bit of bad luck and have to retire due to a mechanical failure.
Alright, I'm going to quickly run through my DNFs. Vettel. Car is a shitbox. Latifi crash. Perez engine explosion, which will then cause a bit of jeopardy because Red Bull will be like, oh my god, Max is going to blow up. And there's going to be tears everywhere in Holland. There'll be floods because of the amount of tears as everyone nervously watches on. And then P17, Pierre Gasly also DNFing. Again, Honda engines are not its chief.
Red Bull. As I already said, I've got Yuki Tsunoda in P20 with a mechanical DNF. I've also got George Russell in P19 with a mechanical DNF.
No upgrades for Merck not working.
And then new track for Kevin Magnussen. I'm in P18 with a crash.
Crashing by himself or crashing with someone?
By himself.
Oh.
Yeah.
4K mag.
Least
And then
he's gonna make a bit of an
P17 to catch us up.
I have got Nicholas Latifi,
Ah.
which then lead in the P16, the other Canadian, Lance Stroll.
Jinx, it's Stroll in P16. P15?
I've got Pierre Gasly.
I've got Valtteri Bottas.
Then P14, I've got Sebastian Vettel.
I have Alexander Albon.
Not getting points in.
No, dropping back 2 from where he got to in the sprint race.
P13, I have Valtteri Bottas crashing out in the sprint, making his way from the back of the grid up 7 into P13.
I have K-Mag P13, gaining 3 from his sprint. I think it's going to slowly build up pace as the weekend goes on.
I think he's going downwards in pace and end up crashing, making an error.
Yeah, good.
P12, I've got the new tyre whisperer, Alexander Albon.
My P12 is the Aussie. It's Daniel Ricciardo, up 2 positions from 14th, but no points.
I've got Ricciardo in P11, just missing out on the points, but having a solid weekend.
My P11 is George Russell, dropping back 3 from in the sprint.
P10, getting his first ever points in Formula 1, I've got Mick Schumacher.
Wow.
On a weekend where his teammate struggles and ends up out of the race, I think he's going to come through for Haas and grab them another point for the championship, and he's at first ever points in Formula 1.
I've got Zhou in P10, maintaining his consistent 10, 11, 11, 10, and he's going to pick up his second point in Formula 1. But then P9, as you have Davidson point scoring, I also have Schumacher taking home P9 to get his first point and his second point in Formula 1.
P9, I've got another strong race for Lando Norris picking up another couple of points for the team.
Nowhere near as strong a race as I've got him having, but P8 have you got?
I've got Guan Yu. Hang on, who's your? Oh, yeah, he's the Schumacher.
Yep.
P8, I've got Guan Yu Zhou. Doing really well in Formula 1 at the moment, but I'm thinking a race where Russell and Magnussen and Bottas are all down and not in the points. I think this will be his weekend to sweep up and get his highest finish out of all the 4 races. Grab.
That would certainly be a good position if Zhou could get that. P8, I have Yuki Tsunoda. So you want him to blow up, and I've got him taking a very solid P8. P7 you got?
I've got Lewis Hamilton.
Wow, low.
Gaining 1 from his where he started on the grid for the race. Not too low, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tough weekend for Merck. You know, he hasn't obviously won in 2020, but 2021 really wasn't his year around Imola. He got lucky with the red flag. Of course he did. But I don't think he'll have much luck around here this year.
Yes. P7, I have Esteban Ocon. Alpine's looking strong. Nowhere near his teammate, really, though. I think Alonso's going to have a bit of a madness. I
have Ocon in P6, 1 position ahead of where you have him. Yeah, strong pace from Ocon. And strong pace with both Alpines leading into my P5, who is Fernando Alonso.
That's very solid. I've also got a team taking both 5th and 6th. It's Ferrari. Leclerc in 5th, Sainz in 6th. I'm thinking they're not going to be too strong in the wet. I think it's some more experienced drivers could come through. And a good result for another one we'll get into in a second. P4, who have you got?
P4, I've got Carlos Sainz just missing out on the podium, which leaves me...
I have Lewis on the fringes of the podium.
Which leaves me with a podium of Perez, Leclerc, Verstappen, but in which order?
Well, my podium is Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, and Max Verstappen. What order could it be, though? Do you want to run through your order first?
I've got Sergio Perez grabbing P3. I have then got Charles Leclerc grabbing P2, and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen.
What is Max Verstappening in this podcast?
Winning Imola twice in a row now. And taking his second win of the season and only his second finish of the season.
My 3rd place belongs to the Spaniard. It is Fernando Alonso getting on the podium in Formula 1.
Is Lando Norris going to get his first race win in Formula 1?
No. It's going to be a P2 for Lando, but I think he'll take that. I mean, he's definitely going to take that considering how little pace McLaren have had this season. That'll be a good moment for them, despite Ricciardo being down in 12th. And then Max Verstappen takes the win. So that's
got Max to win.
2 race wins from 2 finishes. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, at the time of this will go out on Friday. So quali's on the same day, obviously, with the sprint race.
Yes.
things. Hope you enjoyed our F2 and F3 video yesterday, and of course we'll be back on Monday, hopefully, with our reaction to what happened, our review, all that stuff of all the action in the Grand Prix. So join us then, and of course if you want to leave your comments, go get in the comments down below and leave your predictions, leave your thoughts, comments, all that kind of stuff, rumours about F1, just anything about F1 really. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you want to check out more of our content, there'll be a link on screen now, so make sure to click it. It's probably like covering half my face or something fun like that. But yes, thank you all very much for watching. See you next time.
See ya.